R.M. Sotheby's is the world's largest collector car auction house by total sales. They are the preeminent market maker of high-quality collector cars and collections, regardless of size or complexity. By working in partnership with the Sotheby's team and its network of 80 offices in 40 countries, R.M. Sotheby's has established the largest client network of any collector car auction house in the world. Join the R.M. Sotheby's family by connecting with one of their car specialists at rmsotheby's.com or contact me directly at GStanley at rmsotheby's.com. LLC TLC is here to save you money on all of your vehicle purchases. LLC TLC will permanently register your classic cars in Montana to avoid any annual renewal fees. As your registered agent, they will handle everything for you so you never have to step foot in Montana. And as a listener of this podcast, LLC TLC is offering 30% off your entire package. Simply go to llctlc.com/classic or mention this podcast when you contact LLC TLC directly. All right, welcome to the Collector Car Podcast. I am excited about today. I'm going to share my Nirvana documentation scale, which is totally made up, but it was a part of my e-newsletter a couple weeks ago that people really seem to enjoy. If you want to be a part of my e-newsletter, please shoot me your email address. Send it to greg@thecollectorcarpodcast.com. I do not spam. It is very infrequent because I try to make them a worthy read of your time. And so literally I spend hours on those emails before I send them out, and they're meant to be fun, enjoyable, slightly campy, but something that you would look forward to when you see it in your inbox. So before we get to that, I do have some updates I would like to give. First off, I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. I had a wonderful time. My sister came over from the Charlotte area, and we went to some cool places. She has some younger kids, teenagers, and we went to the American Sign Museum in Cincinnati. If you haven't been to this place, I highly recommend it. It's educational. It kind of flows through the history of signs from way back when in the 1800s, before there were neon signs, until pretty much to today. It is quite a place, very cool to see. If you're on YouTube right now, I am showing some pictures. Definitely worth the visit. I also went to a place that I've been trying to get into a few years, because my nephews are airplane enthusiasts. My brother-in-law is an F-16 pilot, and so the airplanes are big in their lives. And we have the Tri-State Warbird Museum just outside of Cincinnati. I say I've been trying to do that for a long time now because it seems like whenever they are in town, it is closed. It's somewhat of a private collection that's been turned into a nonprofit. Very cool place if you like airplanes and cars. There's a couple period cars in front of the airplanes. They have everything from a World War II bomber to a P-51 Mustang to a Corsair they're restoring. And our guide was extremely knowledgeable. It was a lot of fun. All right, next I wanted to give some updates on some R.M. Sotheby's auctions. Let's see. Scottsdale is closed. We cannot get any more cars into the Scottsdale auction. I've seen some really cool stuff come through. That's going to be a great auction. Up after that is Motor Miami sale. So that's around the end of February, beginning of March, that weekend. Now, that one already is getting pretty tight. So if you're thinking about throwing a car into that sale, please get with your car specialist now. You can go to rmsotheby's.com and find a specialist in your area. But we go all over the U.S. We go wherever the need is warranted. So if you would like my help, please shoot me a note, GStanley at rmsotheby's.com. Now, I believe they're only accepting consignments north of $400,000 at this point, but if it's a really cool one-off car that we just don't see very often that's in tremendous shape, I bet we can squeak it in. Again, that's for Motor Miami. Now, if you want to just go and see the show, which is absolutely incredible, you can get discount tickets, 15% off, if you use my code GSMM25. So that's for Greg Stanley, Motor Miami 2025. So GSMM25. Go to the Motor Miami website, order your tickets, plug in that code, and you will get a 15% discount. The show is going to be absolutely unbelievable. The auction is going to be stellar because we have, just to kick it off, we have the Indianapolis Motor Speedway cars. The Streamliner Mercedes will have sold in Germany in February. The Ferrari 250 LM will have sold at Retromobile in Paris. I'm sure both of those will be world record sales. And then we'll have the remaining 9 cars, I believe, including some stellar cars, GT40, some really, really cool cars selling in Miami. So it's definitely going to be worth it. If you need a hotel room, shoot me a note as well. RM Sotheby's has the entire Biltmore booked. There's a few rooms left, but you need to go through your car specialist. So shoot me a note again, GStanley at rmsotheby's.com. Now I am hitting the road quite a bit. The deadline for Moto Miami is, I believe it's January the 22nd. So I have a lot of travel coming up, trying to get some cars for that sale. So I will be in Pittsburgh as we speak, and then I will be in DC area next week. So if you're in the DC area or even in Philadelphia and you'd like my help, please shoot me a note. Then I'll be down in Orlando for a while. The 1st of January is still up in the air, so I have flexibility to travel to you if you have a significant opportunity that warrants. That is something that could be really cool down at Moto Miami. All right, let's get started with my Nirvana documentation scale. Now, this is something I made up, and you'll see why here in a moment. You kind of got to watch the whole thing and listen to the whole thing to find out what prompted this. So like I said, this is my totally made up Nirvana documentation scale that ranks the importance of documentation that comes with a collector car. Now, this scale does not factor in the provenance, originality, rarity, or desirability of said car. This documentation scale has nothing to do with the car itself. So, for example, if we're talking about a 1974 Mustang II with all of the records, photos, and documentation from new, it would rank very high on the Nirvana scale because it's about the documentation, the pictures, the paperwork, not the car. Now, if it's an original 1958 Ferrari 250 Testarossa worth north of $30 million, but it has zero documentation, it would rank very low on this documentation scale. The value of the collector car has no impact on this scale. So it's strictly about everything outside of the car. Now to the rankings of the Nirvana scale. This is an acronym that I came up, and it goes from N meaning nothing, and it increases in importance until you spell Nirvana. Now, like I said, you'll have to listen to this entire podcast to find out what the final A is for, A in Nirvana. But trust me, it is absolutely worth it. All right. Now, I will use the incredible documentation of my 1966 Pontiac GTO I've talked about many times on this podcast. Now, if you've missed seeing it on Jay Leno's Garage, go to Jay Leno's Garage, and you can watch it. It's about 5 months ago. If you missed my interview with Jay Leno, just go to my podcast, at Collector Car Podcast YouTube channel, and it starts automatically at this point. Just go to the page, and it'll start. All right, so like I said, in Nirvana means nothing. You've got zero documentation, nada, zip, zero, zippo. All right, now I'll use my first car as an example. So I'm showing a picture up here online where I have my cutoff jorts and a lustrous head of hair. You'll see a mediocre 1968 Mustang Coupe that I bought for $1,000 when I was around 18 years old. Now, not only was this car lacking any sort of documentation, it was also the cheapest Mustang built in 1968. It has zero options. It came with the straight 6-cylinder engine and a 3-speed transmission. Now, if you look in the picture, it looks like I'm parked halfway in the grass. Now, that the emergency brake did not work on that car, and this was my well thought out solution. I'll just park the front wheels in grass, and hopefully it will not roll away. Now, it did eventually roll away from me one time, but that is a story I will have to share at another time. The I in Nirvana, now this equates to imitations and reproductions. So this ranking is for cars that have some documentation and or paperwork, but none of it is original to the car. This could be reproduction owner's manual, protecto plate, maintenance booklet. They are not from the date of purchase, and therefore they are imitations of the authentic item. Now, I almost called this ranking the Las Vegas Elvis, but I needed a vowel to make the acronym work. So just think about anything that you can go to a swap meet or to one of the aftermarket suppliers and buy. Yes, maybe it's an owner's manual from 1966, but it's a reproduction, it's an imitation, and it was not originally sold with the car. R in Nirvana, robust, third-party documentation. So this is, for this ranking, third-party professionals are brought in to document your car. This could be through a Marty report for post-1966 Mustangs, or Porsche vehicle documentation, or Jaguar heritage certificate. There are many of these services available for certain brands. Typically, all you need for one of these reports is your car's VIN, vehicle identification number. This is great information to document the options that came on your car. Now, this ranks low on this scale. It is a bought service, and it is not from the period in which the car was originally sold. So, this is a service you can buy, but it's higher in the rankings because it applies directly to your car, and it can verify some of the options on your car, for your car. Now, for my GTO, I ordered the Pontiac Historic Service PHS report. It verified most of my options, but not all. Now, my GTO was ordered with a 1 of 5 special paint exterior colors, in this case, Tiger Gold. But this report does not document the specific color, just that it was 1 of the 5 available. Now, that's really interesting because I would have thought, Pontiac was a little bit better in documenting the special paint cars. All it says is like a 1-2, meaning special paint, but it doesn't tell you which one of the 5. Even my original dealer invoice does not say what color it is. It just says special paint. But thankfully, because it's an unrestored car, it's very easy to see that it is Tiger Gold. All right. Now, this is a great resource to have, especially if your data tag is missing, as it verifies options and build configuration of the car. Now, this depends on the brand. For Mustangs, Marty reports they have 1967 on. So if you only have the VIN for the car, but the data tag on the door is missing, the VIN and the Marty report will tell you what options came with the car. Otherwise, the VIN will just tell you, I think it would just tell you the engine option and the body style. V in Nirvana. Now, this is for vintage swag. Now, there's nothing better than documentation from the original dealership that sold your car. Now, for my purposes, I've got some cool images here on YouTube. They are from the dealership in which sold the Pontiac GTO new. There's a dealer magazine that was customized with the original owner's name, Bobby Morgan. On the centerfold, that car looked very similar to his car. Now, if you watch the Leno video, Jay was quick to point out that it was not his car because Bobby's car, my car, has a red pinstripe, whereas the one in the advertising has a black pinstripe. Next is a dealer plate that was never put on the GTO, but it was carefully saved. So this would be the dealer little plate you put on the back of the trunk lid. Now, this one was never put on, and it came with the car, even had the double-sided tape still in the plastic bag, which is really cool. Another rare dealership item that came with my car is the original keychain, which was personalized with Bob's name. Now, it's hard to make out the dealer's name on the keychain. It has faded over the years from use, but if you hold it in the light just right, you can see Banya's Cadillac Pontiac out of Chillicothe, Ohio. Now, some other fun swag. As an example, now hopefully you have some with your car. For my car, Bobby was a race car driver, and he was the owner of the Morgan Sunoco and Speed Shop in Chillicothe, Ohio. Additional vintage swag includes his racing jacket, which matched his GTO, gold with red accents, number 66, as well as his Sunoco U-Haul service shirt and jacket, which he customized with "I Can Be Very Friendly." Actually, I found out later he did not customize that. That was the theme. That was the theme, the logo for Sunoco at the time. The motto, "I can be very friendly." Now, Bobby Morgan passed away in 2020 at 89 years old. By the time his racing career ended, he had over 100 trophies that were displayed in his Sunoco station. Now, I even have a picture from the period of his Sunoco station with the trophies in the background, which is really, really cool. And then on top of that, as far as swag, it's not quite vintage, but when he passed away, they did a memorial race at his racetrack. So it's cool to see that we have shirts that says Bobby Morgan Memorial Race. Again, just some fun swag that comes with the car. Hopefully it's vintage from the period the car was built. A in Nirvana, authentic and original documents. Now, this is the level of their Nirvana scale where documentation really adds value to your car. Why? Because this is documentation that cannot be bought or replicated. It not only verifies the authenticity of your car, but enhances its provenance for future owners. Now, for the GTO, I have the original protective plate with the original owner's name on the metal plate. This is one where they got it, and when they bought the car, they sent it off and they put their name in it. I've been told that this one item can add up to $10,000 to the value of a GTO. Now, I also have, in this owner plate, there's something cool. There's a piece of tape in it that says April the 15th, 1968. I want you to remember April the 15th because that pops up again and again with this Pontiac GTO. It shows up 6 additional ways in the documentation of this car. Kind of weird. All right. Also, for the protective plate, it has the GTO's VIN also on that documentation. Now, some other fun, authentic, original documents that come with my Pontiac GTO is this blue sheet of paper that was added to the owner's manual by the dealership. It lists additional items that were not covered by the warranty. Now, nothing feels better than having an extra layer of protection from your loyal customers. All right, a big piece of paper that adds a lot of value to a car is the original build sheet. Now, in Chevrolets, GM cars, usually it's put on top of the gas tank underneath the seat. It's hard to find, but if you can find it, it is worth gold. In Mustangs, I believe, early Mustangs, it was behind the dash. So for the GTO, we found it on top of the gas tank when it was pulled in 2003 in preparation to sell the car. I didn't find it, the family did. Now this is the only documentation for the GTO that verifies the special paint color and the custom ordered red pinstripe. It is really cool to see that. It says Tiger Gold, red pinstripe. It doesn't get any better than that. Now something else that's really cool to have is the original window sticker. There are folks that can reproduce the window sticker for your car, but it's much better to have the original window sticker or dealer invoice. My Pontiac GTO was special ordered, so there is no window sticker, but there is a dealer invoice. Now this one shows that Bobby did a partial trade-in of a 1965 VW two-door Bug and a 1960 Chevrolet wagon. Now, a fun note that you can see on this dealer invoice is that the GTO engine is a 389 cubic inch V8. And guess what? The last 3 digits of this GTO's VIN is 389. Isn't that cool? All right, then I also have another pile of awesomeness with my GTO as an example. We have the original title, we have the original loan document, the original owner's manual, and many, many, many state registrations back to 1970. Now, 3 of these registrations expired on April the 15th. Again, that number's popping up again back in 1970, 1972, and 1973. And I even have a gas receipt from, you guessed it, April the 15th, 1970. So he must have gotten state registration renewed on April the 15th and got gas that same day and kept that paperwork, which is pretty cool. Now, I love it when cars come with stickers because stickers can tell a story. Again, this goes to some of the original documentation with the car. Now, for the GTO, it has an Ohio inspection sticker from 1968, a Sunoco 260 fired sticker, and oil change stickers back to 1971. But this is really cool. The oil change stickers are from Bobby's Sunoco station, so his name is on the stickers. The original owner's name is on the Sunoco stickers. So you can't get much better documentation than that. Very, very cool. All right, now there's even more from April the 15th. So we've already seen it shown up like 6 times. We've seen it on the certifications. We've seen it on oil change stickers. We've seen it on the protective plate. We've seen it all over the place. Now, on top of that, I found an inspection tag when I was detailing the engine bay. This inspection tag is a piece of paper tied on with the wire. It is burnt. It is soiled. It is dirty. But on it, written in pencil, is April the 15th, 1966, which was 1 week after the build date and 1 week before Bobby bought it, and it's been in the engine bay for 58 years. And if that isn't cool enough, we filmed with Jay Leno on, you guessed it, April the 15th, 2024, 58 years later to the exact date of that paper tag. I brought that up in the video, so when you watch the video, you'll see me mention Jay. He didn't seem to quite get it. He was like, oh, okay. Another fun fact about the GTO, which is not verifiable, but it's still cool. I heard about the GTO on Bobby Morgan's birthday, and I bought it on the daughter's mother's birthday, so his ex-wife's birthday. So bought it on the mom's birthday, heard about it on the dad's birthday. So we're getting to the end of Nirvana. N.I.R.V.A.N.A, nostalgic period pictures. For most cars, this is the best of the best documentation you could ever ask for. Having a picture of your car the day it was bought at the dealership with advertising behind it, it really does not get any better than that. And for the GTO, we have a freaking stuffed tiger on the hood. On top of that, we actually have 2 different pictures of the car on the day that it was bought. I thought this was the best of the best. The whole reason for this Nirvana scale is because I found out later this was not the best of the best. Now, additional pictures from the time the car was new with Bobby and his family are also priceless. So if you have some pictures of your car with the original owner or in front of the dealership back in the day, those are absolutely priceless. Now, I have pictures of Bobby with his race car taken in the parking lot of his Sunoco station, which was across the street from the dealership where he eventually bought the GTO. Again, race car, gold with red accents and the number 66, same as the 66 Pontiac GTO, which is so cool. In 2024, the GTO won the Jimmy Eibold Preservation Award at the Cincinnati Concours d'Elegance. Now, while there, I asked the daughters to replicate this picture of them from 1966, 58 years later. So if you're listening only, it's a picture of the two girls in front of the car, black and white picture when they were very little girls, and one's holding a teddy bear and the other is standing there. Neither one of them has a smile on their face. So at the Cincinnati Concours, I asked them to replicate that. They could not smile because we wanted to mirror the original picture. And Lisa is holding a stuffed tiger instead of a teddy bear. But we wanted to replicate that picture 58 years later, which adds to the story of the car. All right, so this is it. A in Nirvana. A equals another level. Now, you have all the original documents. You have the vintage swag, period pictures for your car. The package is complete, and you cannot imagine what else could enhance the story of your car. And then you get a Polaroid picture in the mail. Now, this is a true story. About 2 months before I wrote this email, I got a Polaroid picture in the mail, and the note said, hey, look what we found while we were going through some stuff. All right, so the A on the Nirvana scale is for, quote-unquote, another level. And this is it. It's a cake. Yes, a cake. This Polaroid is the entire reason I created the Nirvana scale. I thought the picture from the GTO from 1966 with the tiger on the hood was the ultimate photo documentation of a car, but it turns out I was wrong. This cake, now if you're audio only, it's a white cake with icing, Pontiac logo, GTO logo. This cake is the thank you cake from the dealer to Bobby Morgan for buying the GTO. Now, if you look closely, you can see one of the daughter's hands reaching in from the side. Tracy thought it was Lisa's hand, which would make sense. And then on the back of the photo, it actually gives the date that the picture was taken. Isn't that crazy? Just absolutely not. But wait, there's actually more for this car. So, there's that next level for your car as well. Don't know what it is, but hopefully these examples are helping you out here. So there's a can of paint that came with this Pontiac. This also falls into the another level category. For Pontiac GTOs, and I think all Pontiacs, if you ordered them with one of the 5 special exterior colors, Pontiac included a can of touch-up paint in its trunk. Now, my GTO has this original can with the paint code written by hand on a piece of masking tape. And you can see the masking tape has shrunken over 60 years. Now, to see one of these cans with the original car is extremely rare. Now, automotive Nirvana is achieved when there's great documentation of a car. And with my Pontiac GTO, I am definitely living in a Nirvana state. Now, where does your car rank on the Nirvana scale? Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's something special. Maybe it's a dealer picture. Maybe it's some vintage swag. You can add to your Nirvana scale. What do I mean by that? I mean, having my car on the Jay Leno show adds to the story. Having my car judged at a Concours event adds to the story. Getting a Corvette NCRS judge adds to it. Getting a Ferrari Classic adds to it. All sorts of cool stuff. So there's ways to add to the story of your car to pass it on to the next owner. Another cool way that I added to this car is I have a picture of it next to the Ferrari GTO. As a reminder, represented the Ferrari GTO that sold for $52 million in 2023. At the same time, I was trying to buy this Pontiac GTO, or bought this Pontiac GTO. So I had 2 GTOs in my world, and I had a picture of the 2 of them together. Had to get a picture of the 2 of them together. So that was really, really a lot of fun. So as always, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I will talk to all of you next week.